Everybody likes a surprise.
There's an intruder in the slipstream core and it's killing people.
Time to pick on somebody on size. I'm damn well prepared to risk everything I've got to rescue my friends.
I need some help. Watch your six. Bogey 6+9.
These guys are everywhere. They appear to be moving backward toward time.
God knows what we're gonna do.
In the year 2455, on a routine training mission, a team of students is about to discover a life form frozen in time.
They're on their way back. Prepare for docking and power the lab.
You brought him on board?
Everything's under control, man.
What the hell is going on?
Jason Voorhees, that's what's going on.
He's an unstoppable killing machine.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
How do we get off the ship?
I don't know.
Look, we're gonna be all right.
What, are you high?
Uh-oh.
He's here. You have got to get them out of there.
Hey, Slappy.
I think we're finally okay.
What the hell is that?
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, wow.
He's been modified. Oh, you think?
You guys might want to run. I don't think he's out there.
Why don't you just stick your head out and have a peek?
Coming soon.
He is an unstoppable killing machine.
What the hell is going on?
Jason Voorhees!
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Uh-oh.
He's been modified. Oh, you think?
You guys might want to run.
Jason X.
I don't think he's out there.
Why don't you stick your head out and have a peek?
Rated R. Coming soon. 400 years in the future.
He's here. That's Jason Voorhees!
Evil
It's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
gets an upgrade.
He's been modified.
You guys might want to run.
Jason X. Rated R. Coming soon.
They killed nearly 200 people and simply disappeared.
What was that?
In the darkness of space,
He's here.
there's nowhere to run. This Friday,
What the hell is going on?
Jason Voorhees!
the face of evil is back.
Uh-oh.
Jason X. Rated R.
I don't think he's out there.
Why don't you just stick your head out and have a peek?
Starts Friday. This Friday,
What was that?
the face of evil is back.
Uh-oh.
Jason X. Rated R.
He's here.
Starts Friday.
This is like no other Jason movie.
This movie stands alone. It's unpredictable. It's got bells and whistles. It's a great ride.
He's relentless. You can't get rid of him.
It's really, really scary.
He comes back, and another comes back.
It's just a juggernaut of death.
This has so much computer-generated imagery.
It's not just special effects for the sake of special effects. We have these wonderful acting moments.
Even though he's in an environment that is completely unlike anything we've seen before, he's still Jason.
Jason's back. He's back.
After having made 9 movies using Jason, we were completely baffled as to how we could make another movie that had anything new or fresh or that was worthy of the fan base.
We didn't want to do campers running around in the woods and having sex and drinking beer and smoking pot and getting killed.
There's a limit to how many teenagers you can run in and out of cabins and around trees and put them in a rowboat and then put them in a sailboat. You run out of interesting things to do.
Noel and Todd Farmer, who's the writer, myself, sat in there with Sean and we just threw a bunch of ideas around and we spent a couple hours talking about what we liked about Friday movies, what we didn't like, what we thought would be better, what would we do different.
So we had a long list of like 8 different scenarios to drop Jason in. It's Jason in the snow, Jason in the North Pole, in Africa, you know, we just let it go.
Eventually, I said, well, how about Jason in space?
I said, what are you, nuts? He said, let us work on it, you know? And so they went off and came up with a treatment and worked on it and came back. And I looked at it and I said, geez, this is a terrific idea. Come in here, everything is new and everything is fresh. This is the technology of the future. You have nanotechnology. You can put sick people back together again. You have weapons of destruction that never existed before. It allows us to do completely unpredictable, scary scenes and kills and whatever. It's a wonderful environment for this kind of a movie.
We took the old Friday formula and cranked it up a few notches.
The green room is a room with what we call a green screen, and what that's going to do for us is any area of the room that was green will be replaced with whatever we want to in post. And of course, in the case of the spaceship, we're going to create an outer space environment that it's going to be in with a star field in the background, and a technique that we're using quite a bit in the film. Green screens and blue screens and that sort of thing are certainly nothing new. But all of the images that we're shooting, you know, in this case, everything's actually still being shot on film, on 35mm film, but it will be transferred in a different process to the digital video format, very, very high resolution, much greater resolution than a normal TV would be now.
We never touch the negative. It all just goes from digital right to stock at the end.
In many ways, it's really streamlined the process. I no longer have to carry an army of assistants conforming the work print at this point. And there's a lot of manipulation that we can do now as we're making the film that we otherwise would have to do at the end of the film.
Typically what would happen on a feature film is a movie would be shot on 35mm motion picture film, and only those sequences that would be affected would be digitized. So you might digitize maybe 50 shots or maybe 100 shots. On this movie, what we're doing is we're actually digitizing the whole movie. So every frame of footage that is shot exists digitally. We have a whole digital archive of the movie. What that gives us is an opportunity, a unique opportunity to affect more of the film than ever before. Like literally every frame can be tweaked, color corrected, enhanced with computer-generated images, layered, composited together with other images where need be, and really design the whole look of the movie on a frame-by-frame basis. Typically, films are shot full aperture, 4 perforations, because we're committing the movie to high-definition television. The film is actually being shot with 3 perf 35mm film, and so we're economizing by 25% in actually the amount of film that's being shot and transferring the whole film to high-definition television at a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels.
For us, what that does is allows us to manipulate a lot of the scenes that we've shot and be able to handle that great amount of information that we've got from shooting everything on film much quicker when we do our post-production process.
I think a lot of films will have to go this route, especially lower budget films. There is a decent cost savings, especially if there's a lot of visual effects.
We have probably around 200 visual effects shots that involve computer-generated images, everything from creatures to virtual reality gaming environments to spaceships. We're creating 4 spaceships, the Grendel, the Solaris space station, and the shuttle, and then the rescue shuttle are all going to be created in CG. All these shots are going to come together in a digital environment, and we have a level of control that is never really been done before. Once we have the whole movie in a form that the director likes and that everybody likes, then we film record the whole movie out on an ARRI laser recorder to motion picture film for projection in theaters.
This is a chance to be able to, for instance, create dramatic ways for Jason to dispose of some of his victims. We've got a chance to see somebody that's sliced in half crawling across the screen, or create some really fun visuals.
This is a sequence where Jason falls and slices Azrael's arm off. What you're looking at are actually the elements that we'll use in the composite. This is the plate, the shot that we'll use for Jason, and then this is the green screen for Azrael, the actor who loses his arm. This is the arm. We'll composite those 3 elements together to make it look like Jason sliced off Azrael's arm.
We have a bunch of different environments that we're going to create. One of them, of course, is the old Earth that we're going to help show people, show the passage of time, and show the wasteland, let's say, that's been created. And that's going to require a lot of input from a lot of artists. We're going to shoot some plates, some images that we'll be able to then manipulate in post. We'll be able to change the color of the sky and make it look much more foreboding. We'll make it a very frightening environment that our characters are leaving from. Of course, we also have the outer space environment that we'll be creating, which is a great deal of the picture. Probably 75% of the film is going to be taking place there, so certainly any exteriors we'll be working on.
Warning. Prepare for impact.
What we got here is a wireframe of the Grendel, which is one of the major spaceships on Jason. It's actually going to smash into a big space station, which is going to be pretty exciting. We had to make the whole thing in 3D, and they actually made models of it, which they exploded practically. This has something like 2 million polygons and about 2,000 lights, so it was really a big challenge to make.
You have to have some stunts that are inherently dangerous looking to help tell your story, but you obviously don't want to put your actors at risk. And so we're doing actually a digital stuntman. We are doing a 3D scan of Jason, of Kane Hodder, the actor, where Jason and Brodsky are burning back up into the atmosphere of Earth. That'll be a completely 100% digital shot. It's a shot that you couldn't photograph traditionally, and you certainly couldn't get an actor to do that. You still have that motion picture feel as if it could have been really shot, but the shot is now digital. And the expense of it isn't enormous anymore.
My idea was to try to get very talented people together and really put the money on the screen. I hope we're making a movie that looks a lot better than the amount of money we've got.
A big draw is to work on a picture where you can create everything, because it very rarely happens. So the fact that we can create this whole space station down to the last doorknob and all the monitors and consoles and levers and buttons, and also all the typography. We use hundreds of pounds of metallic powders in the paint to get a lot of a high finish, a metallic finish. The set looks like it's a metal or an alloy, but in fact underneath it all it's wood. Originally I come up with an idea and a concept, and I work it out with the director, and then we start refining the floor plan and the elevations, and I have people that draw for me, and we start working up all the drawings and details, and we'll bring the director in from time to time, say, is this what you want? Show him some reference, color ideas, and once the drawing is up to a certain stage, we'll do a real quick model and show the director, because it really tells the story better than sketches or floor plans. The model, it's a three-dimensional entity, and I have a model scope, and I have cameras, and we photograph it, and we look at it, and that way he will know exactly what he's getting. There's a type of science fiction movie that gets made a lot where it's very dark and menacing, and we wanted to do the opposite. to create a contrast when Jason arrives, so that this is actually a place that people live in and it's comfortable. I used reds and we used greens to bring in a sort of military element in certain areas. The living areas are softer, all softer colors.
On this particular show, because it's a build, it's a futuristic show, I looked at a lot of different comic strips. I researched spacesuits from NASA, historical spacesuits, and put it all before Jimmy, the director, and come up with essentially a palette. Prior to Uber Jason, there are 45 costumes. We have 45 gray shirts, 45 pants, and I think his straitjacket, there's 10 of them. It's all continuity. What people don't realize when they look at a film is that we don't shoot in sequence. We might start off at the end of the movie, given the set that we're on and the location, and then go back. So we have to match that all the time. So they're all clearly marked. We know exactly how many bullet wounds he had from what weapons and exactly what it looks like and how it's dressed from each scene.
Oh, wow. Ever an upload.
The genre of sort of being in the future and stuff has allowed us to get away with a lot of lighting techniques that are much more theatrical in their nature and their range, and the same with colors of gels. We haven't had to stick to the truth of like what is a sunny day or what is a normal night. The android or the robot, when she becomes Super KM, we have some special theatrical lecos and patterns that we've been putting on her to try and give her almost a comic book type of a character look.
Gotcha!
Same with Jason when he becomes Uber Jason. They almost become comic book heroes. Jason is evil, and we generally are trying to make him look more evil and keep him in lower light. We've actually got some lighting that we do specifically for him. We've been using a lot of stage lighting patterns on him.
What the fuck are you looking at?
What I say is that Uber Jason makes evil look good, because he's like this big, menacing, really cool looking, very slick armor and everything. It's kind of like the bad guy that you want to see come back over and over and over again, just like Darth Vader.
At one point I'm getting strangled by him and I'm looking directly into these cat-like eyes that are just peering out of this mask, and it's really odd and very scary.
Before a violent scene in particular, like a kill or something, I do some method growling and kind of avoid the actors because I don't like them to get too familiar with me. When it comes time for them to die, I want them to be a little scared.
You want your machete back? Shit, it's yours! Take it!
Hey, I get all my aggressions out here. It's a good release of tension, especially when you're growling and throwing people around.
The thing that was really challenging was the Uber Jason suit, because it's made out of like so many different materials. The metal parts are vacuum formed, they're velcroed on foam pieces, and the black part of the suit is leather, and the tendrils that grow into the metal are silicone. So all of that had to be blended together. So there was a lot of experimenting.
The armor, it had to roll on the ground. We wanted it to bend and do all of these things. We also wanted it to be light. So what we used was carbon Kevlar, and we stained it, and we put epoxy over top of that. So it's malleable. It bends to a degree, but it is hard, incredibly hard. In fact, interestingly enough, they're starting to build bumpers for cars out of exactly the same process.
Plus, the guy can go into this suit in one piece. It's not like 3 hours of putting him in there bit by bit. He can slip in and out in pretty much 15 minutes.
David Cronenberg makes a special appearance in our film. He is a very dear friend of Jim Isaac, the director, and Jim has worked with him on virtually all of his pictures.
His unique ability to regenerate lost and damaged tissue, I mean, it cries out for more research.
And you're willing to risk the deaths of innocent civilians if he escapes?
Yes.
I sit back and I watch David Cronenberg. I worked with 3 films with him. A lot of what I would be doing other than doing my job is watching him and talking to him about why did he make that decision in that blocking, and why did he make that decision in casting, and just basically talk to him about directing. I've learned a lot from him.
When we got to town, of course, Jim and I immediately thought of talking to David and seeing if he would play a role. He said that he would do it only under the condition that we were to kill his character.
of the time they get their heads chopped off. That's the basic. Okay, we take a cast of the person, head and torso usually, and then with like this kind of like expression on their face, and make a replica of them, like usually in silicone or urethane, wig and everything, and the right color of eyes and stuff. Then bring it on the set and cover the neck holes with generous amount of blood. And there you go.
Okay, screw this, game over.
Are you listening? Damn.